Okay, we're going to set up a simple click. I'm here in Logic Audio. I've opened up a new file. We're going to add a software instrument. We have a metronome sounding device as an audio instrument, software instrument, called Klopfgeist. We're going to select that. I like to use the kick drum, and that sounds like this. Fantastic. Okay, so with a simple click track, essentially it's a metronome. So we could conceivably turn on a metronome and record that into a microphone and send that out to people, or have them, set their metronome to 80 BPM or whatever, and have that in their ears as they record. Obviously, this doesn't allow for any sort of flexibility with the tempo, nor does it necessarily need to line up with bars. If we're just counting quarter notes, then where you start in the bar doesn't really matter. So in this case, I'm going to say, okay, let's make a 3/4 grid. I've changed my grid in Logic to 3/4. So each one of these ticks represents a quarter note. So we have measure 1, 1, 2, 3, measure 2, 1, 2, 3, measure 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on. If we just play this back, we have nothing because we haven't recorded any clicks. So let's just record just a few notes. And I like to use a high tone for the downbeats and low tones for the rest. So we have one bar there. I double click to zoom in on that piano roll, and we can see our timing is off. That's okay. We select those MIDI notes and we quantize that, which is sort of like rounding up or rounding down to the nearest quarter note. Fantastic. That is now on the grid. I can stretch those out. And then we do a function called fixed velocity. And we set the velocity of that note to 100. I like the downbeat to be just a little bit heavier, so I use the velocity tool, which you can access in this drop down, and I pull that velocity of the downbeat up. Okay, fantastic. We now have a little loop that we can extend out for 5 bars. Fantastic. We have made a simple click that sounds like this. Wonderful. What I like to do is pull this back and set it 2 bars before. So we have 2 bars of click before measure 1. And now we would start. Fantastic. Okay, so actually I am going to reset this to a 4/4 measure. Let's just see how that would work. Obviously our click doesn't reflect that 4/4 measure yet, so let's pull back this loop, extend this out one more, and we're going to copy this MIDI information to a 4th beat. Fantastic. Let's pull this back so we're not looping dead space. We're going to have 1 bar of click, and then we are going to extend this out 12 measures. Wonderful. Okay, I'm ready to record something. Now, what you could do if you're dealing with other players is bounce out this track. So bouncing is taking MIDI information or audio information and mixing it down into an audio file that you can send out. If I was to click on bounce here, that brings up a menu saying, the type of file that I want to export. If I want it normalized, which is stretching that loudest peak up to the 0 mark. And yeah, I could send that out to my players and say, hey, use this as your click, record your piece, and send it back to me. Make sure you have your earphones in when you record, because we don't want to hear the click on the recording. All right, fantastic. So I'm going to record a little Telmon piece, and I'll pick up with you when I've got it all recorded. Here we go.